So, hey everybody. Obviously, I'm not here right now, but I'll be teaching through this. So, hopefully, it works. And I guess if you're watching this, it is working. So, I'll be going over the translation first, and then I will do the grammar and the poetic devices. So, starting at line 143, it says, Pyramus, respond. Your Thisbe calls you, dearest one. Listen to and lift up your motionless face now to the name Thisbe. Pyramus raised up his eyes, having been weighed down by death, and with her having been seen, he closed them again. So that's the translation. And I'm going to be sending you guys a document with the translation again because this was probably a little bit too fast, so you guys can maybe write it down when I send it. So I've circled a few things from Latin Library that deviate from the book. So carissima, it's actually carissime with an E at the end in the book, which means it's a vocative, so it goes with Pyramus. So that's why I said dearest one. And then this A right here, it's supposed to be yam, like I-A-M, which that's why I said now to the name Thisbe. So now I'll move on to the grammar and poetic devices. So in line 143, Pyramus is in the vocative case, which shows Thisbe is calling out to him. Then we have carissima, which is a superlative adjective. Then we have the words responde, ex audi, and atole, which are all imperatives, and in the book it says from line 143 to 144. The de, te, and be assonants, or de, te, be assonants, the strong d/t alliteration in both verses, and the series of spondees following nominat all lend a forceful sound effect to Thisbe's imperatives. So basically what it's trying to say that these imperatives are there because Thisbe is really desperate, so she's like, Pyramus, Pyramus, please wake up, please wake up. So Ovid cleverly put some imperatives there to suggest to the reader that she's pretty desperate for him to wake up, and she's really worried about him. So moving on to line 144, Iacentes is a present active participle, translated lying, but in the book it says to translate it just motionless, so it refers to face, so listen to and lift up your motionless face, Vultus's face. And nominat is just a present verb, so Thisbe calls Pyramus. And then we have line 145, again in the book, it says ad nomen Thisbes, which the book says Thisbe had repeatedly called her lover's name to arouse him, so he's dying basically, and she's calling out frantically to try to get him to wake up. But it was the sound of her own name, Thisbe's, which actually momentarily revived him. So in these next two lines, it says that Pyramus momentarily raised up his eyes, which means he opened his eyes as he was dying and then closed them again. So the name Thisbe, her own name, and shows their love, I guess, that Thisbe, by hearing her Thisbe's name, Pyramus actually wakes up for a second. Then in line 145, we have nomen, oculos, and gravatos. So this O right here, this oculos O right here, and this nomen O right here. So again, the O assonance adds a mournful sound effect, so it's emphasizing that Pyramus is about to die, so it's kind of like a really sad moment, and Ovid again uses grammar to try to imply this sad moment. Moving on to gravatos in general, so let me just make it a little bit fancy. Gravatos. So this is a perfect passive participle, which means having been made heavy. So that's just any perfect passive participle, meaning having been made heavy. Then we have the words erexit and recondidit, which both refer back to the word oculos. So we have Pyramus raised up his eyes, and then he says close them again, and the them equals oculos. Pretty fancy here. Then we have the word morte, which is again described in the book, because I guess the book knows more than me, obviously, so I'm just gonna say what the book says. So, in order to appreciate fully the mystique of the scene, it is important to note that Pyramus is now dead, or at least hovering very near the brink of death. So, again, there's some kind of dramatic intent by Ovid here, because he uses the word morte. So, it's in the ablative case first because of this E. So, Pyramus raised his eyes, having been made heavy by death. So it's showing that he's about to die, or he's dead already, and it's his final moments. Then we have the word, let's change the color again. So we have the word visa illa, which is a ablative absolute. So ablative absolutes are translated, so here it's translated with her having been seen. So Pyramus finally sees her, and then once he sees her for his last time, he closes his eyes again. So, I hope you guys thought this would be useful. I mean, it obviously would be better if I was in class, but I can't be. So, I was thinking I would go over the translation once more slowly if you guys want it. And then, again, I'm going to send a worksheet out with all the grammar and devices and the translation. And then, Miss Good, you can forward or rewind if you want. You can rewind, not forward. You can go back in this if you want to catch anything I might have missed, or if they want to see the translation again. So I'm about to say the translation again. So, Pyramus, respond. Your Thisbe calls you, dearest one. Listen to and lift up your motionless face. Now, to the name Thisbe, Pyramus raised up his eyes, having been made heavy by death, and with her having been seen, close them again. Alright, thank you guys. Thanks for listening.